Hello, everybody. Welcome to another review where we take a look at an SE video, give the audience our thoughts on it, and share our views as far as what we're seeing so that we can make it better. We're actually joined by someone who's new to SE named John. We'll be reviewing John's video today. Hello, John. How are you?
Hi. Doing pretty well. Nice to meet everybody.
Glad to have you here. We'll get into your story shortly here. We got Reid, Cordial Curiosity. What's up, Reid?
Hey, what's up?
Roman Tarasov, if I say the last name correctly.
That's me.
Out of Russia, fresh out of Russia. We got Michael Mead here from Australia. What's up, Michael?
Hey.
And then we got Quayd. Quayd is the module lead for the module for the upcoming SE course called What is Street Epistemology? So you're in good hands, John. Are you nervous at all? We're going to be reviewing one of your videos here. What's up?
A little bit nervous, yeah. I'm new to SE, and I've been posting like videos on this like new channel for maybe a little bit more than a week now. This video is the one that's gotten the most views, the most attention so far, and it's been mostly positive. But when Reid messaged me and asked me if I wanted to do a review, I mean, I was like, yeah, of course, absolutely. Constructive criticism, I absolutely welcome it. But then I started listening to the talk over and over again because I wanted to maybe come prepared, like, offering my thoughts on my own talk. And the more I listened to it, the more I started noticing, mistakes, and I shouldn't have asked that question there. I should have asked this question. I should have waited for the pause here. So I'm maybe my own worst critic, but I am a little bit nervous about this one.
Yeah, we're probably all our worst critics. And you're going to always, no matter how long you do videos or have an SE talk, I think you'll always look back on it and notice things that you probably could have done better. That's been my experience. Always. Without exception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good. So this is one of your. You just started uploading videos. What number of video is this of yours that you've uploaded?
Probably like 6 or 7. Like out of all of them, 6 or 7. Yeah.
And this is about truth, objective truth, which is a common thing that we run into when we're doing SE. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, how did you get into SE and this channel and that type of stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I originally saw you, Anthony, as a guest on the Atheist Experience, or that whole thing, one of the shows, and then you were also on Truth Wanted. So when I saw you as a guest, you of course talked about street epistemology, and I've always been sort of a philosophy nerd, and I like that sort of thing. So I decided to dig in, and I watched a lot of your catalog, and I fell in love with the method and actually questioning people like that. So I decided I wanted to try it. I tried it with a few family members first, and it went well enough in that little test bed. So I decided to just get out there and do it. And so I got a little GoPro. I bought one. I wanted to, I only have the one camera so far, but that's the one I've been using, and I just decided to go out and do it. And it's been going well so far. Most of the people that I interact with and that I talk to have seemed to come away with a positive experience. And then that's when I decided, I could try to upload these and learn and get better and catalog how I get better and document it. So I don't know what more to say.
No, that's probably the best way to do it, is just to jump in and start doing it and upload your content and then listen to the feedback that you get. But then also, sometimes you get feedback that's not helpful, but for the most part, the feedback that I was getting when I started uploading stuff was really useful. So, and you'll probably get a lot of ideas from us here too, I would imagine. So we won't hold back. But it's all for your development and other people who might want to get interested in doing this.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect any less. I mean, cool. Let me know if I mess up, or if there's ways to improve. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. Will do. All right, let's get into the video.
So is truth relative? Yes. Truth is relative. Okay.
Play it faster.
Excuse me. Would you have time to do just a short interview? What's it for? I'm doing a thing called street epistemology. Epistemology is the study of knowledge and how we know things. And so as people are going by, I was asking, is there anything that you believe is true, and you believe it so much that if you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have that belief, it would change the way you acted or change the way you went about life? And I could talk to you about, how do you know it's true, and do you have reasons for thinking? So like it's just a conversation and like some thought experiments, if you would want to do anything like that. Okay.
Consent.
Could I get your first name?
Macey.
Macy. M-A-C-Y?
M-A-C-E-Y.
M-A-C-E-Y. Okay. Would you mind if I recorded the conversation?
No, no, no.
Okay. Let me see. What belief do you have that like fits what I described? Do you have anything like that?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I know. I think it's a little naive almost to hold. There are no certainties. No certainties.
No certainties. No absolutes.
Correct.
Can we pause
You
it?
don't believe anything.
Straight away.
So, yeah, let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
So you stop somebody. Looks like you're on a trail or something. Looks like a really nice location. Good foot traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a local park.
Introduce what you're doing, which I thought what you explained what you were doing. I thought was really good. You kind of covered all the bases. You asked for consent to participate as well as consent to record, which is really good. When I first started doing it, I wasn't nearly as careful with those things. And then she surfaces the big claim. Like, I think there's no such thing as truth. Is that her main claim? That's what I'm hearing.
Well, she, as of right now, yeah, I think that's what she's saying. She eventually, in just like a couple of seconds in the video, she like makes a claim that nothing is as it seems, or, you know, the world is not as we think it is. And that was like a big thing. And then
Like,
yeah. So, but then when I guess we'll see again in just a second. I do the little tic-tac analogy and try to, you know, how can we tell what is true about the contents of the box of candies? That gets us back on the what is truth even. So then we start exploring that. So yeah, the question is, what is truth? How do we
you eventually
know
get
it's
to
truth?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Socrates question. Love it.
So strongly that it would affect your life if you woke up and you didn't believe it. Because, like, I mean, you could maybe not be certain about
Right.
things, but-
Yeah, I'm sure there's something that could affect me.
Okay.
I mean, like, if I woke up tomorrow and I found out this was all the Truman Show and I was him,
Yeah,
I believe that. That wouldn't.
that would change your life. Okay.
It would, but
Um,
I'm open to every possibility.
So it's possible that this is the Truman Show.
Yeah.
But how likely do you think that is?
That's like almost like a 50%.
This could be 50-50 the Truman Show, or a similar situation.
I think 50% this is all a facade.
Ooh. Okay.
Not necessarily Truman Show, but
A facade and something.
things are not what they seem to be.
Okay. Would you want to discuss that? Are you cool with the discussion?
Sure.
Okay. So if you could, I guess, if we could make it a claim, like if you could put it into a tweet, it would be, the world is not what we think it is, or something like that. Or do you want to change that in any way?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The world is not what we think it is.
The world is not what we have.
Interesting. Can I say for a second that
Yeah.
the claim itself is phrased such an interesting thing. The world is not what we think it is. And I'm asking myself, so if it's not what we think and if we know it, we think about it, can we say that we think it's not what we think it is? Like, it's just, it might seem like a circular ontological thing. Like what, or maybe she was saying that she knows more about the world than most of us. Like others maybe think the world is something, but she knows better. So yeah, I would try to probably distinguish between those two scenarios.
Yeah, I really like that tweet, asking if she had to put it in a tweet. I think that was a good strategy to get someone to boil down what they believe.
Yeah, that's good. I found discussions about reality the hardest topic to SE on.
Yeah.
It's even a lower level than objective versus subjective truth, I think. Or maybe it's related to it. I'm not exactly sure. But when someone wants to talk about, or they think that, well, how could you even be sure that we're in the same reality? Then like claims go off to the side, evidence goes off to the side. Maybe the only thing that you can use to navigate that discussion is whether they think truth is objective, and if we're sharing the same reality. But so this topic would scare me. I'd be more cautious to be participating in it because it's so nebulous.
There's a question on the SE interview, or not interview,
Survey?
question or survey. The survey. There's a question on the survey, and I used that question later in this talk. But it's do we all perceive, or do we all experience the same reality but perceive it differently? And that's I think really what we explore in this talk.
Yeah, that survey's good. All right, let's keep going.
The world is not what we have believed. Yeah.
Okay. The world is not what we believe it is. Okay. So you were saying 50-50, but I'm going to ask you this question just to clarify.
Okay.
On a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is I have a lot of questions and I have a lot of doubts. I'm not really sure.
Just
that
one
this
thing.
claim
Reid?
is true.
Yeah. I noticed it's a negative claim by having the word "not" in there. I like to rephrase those in the positive. So the world is different to what we think it is, and it's only because we're primed to think in the positive. We're not primed to think in the negative. It's just one thing.
Yeah, I had the same issue because earlier she had said that, I think she said that she thought it wasn't the Truman Show, and I thought, okay, that could be an interesting claim to explore, but it is a negative, and that can be very difficult. But I actually think you got to a more interesting place anyway. I don't think it would have been as interesting to explore that claim as the one you have now. So
Yeah,
and I would probably try to clarify even more, try to just, what do you mean by that? And then try to get a more specific claim before I go into confidence.
Yeah, like would it be the same to say that we don't know everything about the world? So would that cover it? Like the world is not what we think it is, because there's more, for example, for science to discover.
Yeah. Would we need to know everything about everything in order to think the world is as we think it is? In order
Do we know
Are
anything?
you talking about something supernatural maybe, or something like in the Matrix, in the Truman Show?
Is there some grand conspiracy happening? Are we in the Matrix? Stuff like that. Yeah.
There was also one moment where she gave you that response and then you laughed. I don't know if you guys caught it or not. And it almost seemed like she maybe got, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I was thinking you didn't really build a lot of rapport with her. You explained what you were doing. You got to her reason. Now you're shifting onto confidence, but there's not a connection there with her. Right? Okay. What brings you to the trail? Have you ever been asked these types of questions before?
Okay.
What do you do? What keeps you busy? These types of things. Because if you don't have the rapport and then you give a good-natured laugh, I'm sure you weren't laughing at her probably.
Right.
You probably meant it really well. But if you don't have that rapport, the interpretation of certain things like that can really be up to interpretation, maybe more so if you don't have the rapport at the start.
Some of it, I think, is nervous laughter. But also some of it, I think, is in the moment. I'm trying to seem not threatening. I'm trying to seem jovial, or how I don't know what the word is, but I'm just trying to act. Yeah. And so I laugh to try to ease the tension.
For sure. I totally understand that. I'm just not sure she may have interpreted it that way, but who knows?
Yeah.
She may have.
Yeah.
at the moment, she has no reason to be charitable to you, basically, is my point. And if you had more rapport, maybe she would be willing to afford that to you.
Absolutely.
On a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 is I have a lot of questions and I have a lot of doubts, and I'm not really sure that this claim is true. So, like, let's say
The claim I just made.
the claim you just made
Okay.
that the world isn't what we think it is. So 0 is, if you were 0% on this, you would think the world is what we think it is.
Okay.
So 0 is like, it's kind of backwards, maybe.
Would it be extreme to say 100%?
100% that the world is not what we think it is.
The world isn't what we think it is.
Okay. What would you say is the main reason you're at 100% on that?
Because I've already been surprised. I've already woken up and things
Oh.
have not been true. And
Okay.
I've learned now that not to expect anything and to not be surprised. Nothing's true unless proven otherwise, and nothing is false unless proven otherwise, because people
Okay.
can make claims all they want, but
Okay.
there's no hard fact.
Okay. This is really interesting. Okay, so I have a quick thought experiment to go through some of this. Okay. So right here I have this like box of candies, right?
All right.
Would you agree that in this box the number of candies could be either even or it could be odd, but it couldn't be both at the same time?
I suppose, yes.
You would agree with that? Okay. Like, if you even want to talk about that real quick, we could. So the number is even or it's odd, but it's not both. Those are exclusive. It has to be even or it has to be odd. Assuming they're like all whole pieces, we're not talking about like half a piece.
Okay.
Okay. We agree on that? All right. What if somebody said to you, well, it's my truth. Like, it's my truth that there's an odd number in here.
Yeah, she mentioned there was no hard fact, and I would just try to make sure
Yeah.
you're trying to test that claim. There's no hard facts, and I think there's an assumption if we chose even or odd, that's a hard fact.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explore, and this is one of the things that I picked up when I was listening to the talk over and over again. When she said there's no hard fact, I could have asked her to clarify what that even means. But I thought the tic tac like analogy, the test would I think that would shed light on, is it a hard fact that there isn't even or an odd number or a quantity at all in this? Would that be a hard fact? You know, I thought I could clarify through the test.
And did she say that she had woken up? Is that what she said? Did I mishear her? Did she say that she used to believe one thing, but she woke up? Is that what?
It was something along the lines of that. I think she was saying she used to believe, as everybody else did, that the world is the way everybody else thinks it is, but she was enlightened or woken up to some sort of fact that the world is not the way I think it is. So something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm interested in that in particular.
Yeah, if somebody says something like that, I would, definitely like, that sounds really interesting. What happened there, right? Like, see if they're willing to take you there. If it was really influential.
Ask for an example would be a good way. Like, could you give me a good example of something people thought what the world was, but turns out it's not?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Would they be factually correct?
No.
No? They can't have their own truth?
They can,
Okay. But would that be
but that's a fact to them.
Okay. They're convinced of it, but maybe it's not the truth.
Correct.
Okay. What if we, like, even if we took the box, we poured it out, and we counted them up, and we got 20, and they were still, no, it's my truth that it's odd.
Am I answering? What am I saying?
Okay, so
I still think that is their truth.
That is their
Even
truth.
if I don't believe that, That's their truth.
Okay.
They might.
Okay, again, to clarify, we all experience the same world, but we interpret it differently. Like maybe there are hard facts, like there's 20 in here, but we could maybe interpret it differently and say, well, it's my truth that it's odd.
No,
That's good.
because that might not be a hard
Clarifying. It's good clarifying there, John. Like at this point, it's good to go back and just summarize what you've heard so far to see if you're on track, and it helps her to get clear about her own thoughts. So I thought that was a good thing you did just there.
Yeah, I was iffy about it at first because I thought maybe it might be tedious, but no, I think it worked well doing that.
And I like the phrasings you say, just to clarify, and you gesture to help that. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of small talk was missing there, but generally it's great.
Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
No, because that might not be a hard fact.
Okay,
Not for some.
so if we poured this out, counted it up, you and I and like a few other people, we all count it and we all agree it's 20, but then there's one person that says it's my truth that it's odd.
Right.
Are we both correct?
Why not? Who's to say?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
all
Okay.
based on
Another
something
laughter.
that we have learned from other people.
Yeah,
Okay,
who's to say
that nervous? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The answer itself is troubling, and then the reaction on top of it is going to probably be interpreted as if you're laughing at her. You're probably not. You're
Yeah.
probably just trying to make it like maybe you're feeling uncomfortable for her, so you're laughing to diffuse the awkwardness that maybe she might be feeling or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I honestly, like, in the way that I interpreted it, could have been for multiple reasons, but I could imagine myself laughing at that instance, and I think it's because, like, I think there's a truth to be explored in what she's saying. Like, okay, who is to say? And to maybe like even ask her, like, so how do we collectively decide what's true? Who ultimately is to say when we're talking about such things, what should be true and what's not true, and why? And maybe she wouldn't have an answer to that, but I may just check.
Yeah, absolutely. And in some of the, at least in one of the comments on the video that I've seen already, is there was somebody saying that I seemed incredulous, like when she would say something, and I would be like, "Really?" Like, yeah, I feel like with nervous laughter and with some of the reactions I gave, yeah, it was definitely, I could have been more tactful. Yeah.
Oh boy, I just saw who commented on that.
Oh,
Daniel,
I've never met him before, so I didn't know if he was. Yeah.
it's Daniel Ray.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Oh, we know him.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, John. We get people commenting on our videos. I think they mean well. They try to give us some feedback.
Many an episode of the Guessing Review Show has been covering Daniel Ray's videos. So maybe we'll have another one soon to chat about. Anyway, keep going here.
Information that they put into our brain.
Okay.
So that's correct, like what we've been taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been taught that 1 is odd, 2 is even. Is that not correct? Or is this maybe a problem of the way we define things, or?
It's based on interpretation. Like,
Okay.
Just
much.
one thing there, John.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Instead of asking a leading question like that, where you're suggesting an answer, try to keep it as broad as possible. Like, what's your best explanation for this, or what's your main reason for thinking that that's the case? And then it comes from a point of like, we're switching to curiosity and eliminate our own bias that's sitting there. It's really hard to do because you have an idea, right? And you want to see, is that what you mean? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
But if we can switch to being more curious, oh, maybe she's got an interesting answer. What's your best reason for believing that? What's the evidence you've seen that points to this? And we could be really curious. You never know what answer she's going to give, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interpretation. Like,
Okay.
pretty much, because colorblind people grow up thinking one thing is something, and it's not the whole
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Things can where science is proven incorrectly all the time. I
Okay.
mean, we thought smoking cigarettes was good for us.
Yeah.
We've been told 2 is even. Maybe it's not. What's even? What's it mean?
Okay. Okay.
Maybe I'm getting too far down.
No. This is good. This is exactly the kind of conversation I want to have.
Okay.
So if we both agreed, if we defined, like we agreed on 1 is odd, 2 is even,
Yes.
and 3 is odd, 4 is even. We made sure we're good on that.
Uh-huh.
If we maybe define even as you can divide it up and you're not going to have any left over. Like you can divide it up equally and you're not going to have any left over. If we defined even that way, and we did the same thing, we counted up, this is 20, we can divide it into 2 10s.
Yes.
And then this other person says, it's my truth that there's an odd number in there. Are they correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I would say, based on the factual evidence, they're incorrect. There are 20. 20 is even. That is what we've been taught.
Yeah.
But if that is their truth, I'm not going to deny that of them or
Okay.
question it really, because
Okay.
why not? Why couldn't it be
Ooh.
true?
Okay. What if?
Let me go back for a second.
Yeah.
But if that is their truth, I'm not going to deny that of them or
Okay.
question it really, because
Okay.
why not? Why couldn't it be
Ooh.
true?
Okay.
Yeah, when I hear things like that, it's about respect in my mind. It's like they don't want to offend them. They just want to not push back in any way. That's what I think of.
Who am I to
Right.
say? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anything else? Keep going.
It can be really difficult to have these conversations because you're really talking about deep philosophy now. You're talking, it's hard. It takes a lot of practice, but good on you for having a go at this one, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. But since we're talking, let me add another note. So there's a general rule to try to not ask the same question or similar questions too many times. Like more than once, but more than twice is even worse. Like we call it a chess rule. Like in chess, if you have the same position 3 times, the game ends.
Yeah.
So same could be here. Like if you try to ask once or even twice the same question and didn't get the results that you were hoping to get, maybe, or for whatever reason didn't progress in the direction that you wanted to, just try to find another track. So in this case, yeah, I think you were asking great questions. But if you can't find progress, just try to back down and take several steps back and start from scratch. Like, for example, in this case, what could have been done is to narrow the claim down to an example and try to, for example, say, like, I would ask for an example of a case where she thought something was proven, and then ask the same questions relating to this example. Like, for example, you were saying that who's to say what's right and what's wrong, and now you're saying that this has been proven that it's not what we were thinking it is. Who's to say that it has been proven? Like questions like this, and just trying to understand you. I'm not trying to push anything like that.
Yeah. There was a point there where this might have been a good point to check in with her as well, just for rapport, because there was a point there where I think I heard you say words to the effect, this is exactly the conversation that I want. She hesitated for a minute and you go, no, it's okay. This is exactly the conversation I want. That might have been a good point to check in and say, how are you finding the conversation so far? Are you comfortable with it?
Yeah.
You know, and just, and that brings it to more of a partnership. It's not just what I want, it's what we want. You know, we're doing this together.
Absolutely. Not to get too far ahead, but I think there is a point just like a little bit later in the video where I do that checkup. I make sure that
nice. Okay.
So I also
Awesome.
addressed what Ram was saying. The way I phrase it in just a second is I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to ask this too many times, but I think in this case I felt that the example of with the Tic Tacs is very black and white. It's odd or even. It has to be one way or the other. And I thought that really digging into this and finding an answer to this question would, I think, shed light on like the entire issue. If truth is relative, how do we have these hard facts? Like I thought this was maybe the best example for this question. So I tried to really focus on this example.
Yeah.
That was my thoughts in the moment.
Okay.
Cool. Gotcha. Keep going.
Okay. What if, okay, so you're saying that they may believe that, but you're not going to push them on it because it's not really going to harm anyone, or it's not?
No, I'm
Okay.
not gonna say they're incorrect though either.
Okay.
Like
Because you're honestly not sure if they're correct or incorrect?
that's how I approach things usually.
Okay.
I just try to keep an open mind.
What's the best example of something someone could say is the case where you would probably say they were incorrect about it? Is there anything at all that would do that?
Yeah. What's your threshold? At what point would you start caring? Yeah.
Yeah, you hate to use Hitler and probably need better analogies at this point, but people do usually draw a line somewhere. Yeah.
Usually it's like health or benefit or harm. So like if these weren't candies, but if this was medicine, I've heard that used before. That might be just what it takes to make it a little bit more important to the person to consider it more. But you can start with something benign like candies and then go up from there.
Nathan from Abstract Activists, he has a good question he asked. I like, do you find the truth valuable? If so, why is it valuable? And,
where's he commenting on that? Where's his comment? I don't see his comment.
Oh, no, this is something I've seen before. He's probably not. It's just something I've seen Nathan do before. I like that question that he uses. Yeah. Do you find the truth valuable? If so, why is it valuable? And that can lead into those hypotheticals then.
That also is appealing to the person who values value over truth. Is there any value to believing true things?
Yeah.
It's another road to go down.
Pragmatists.
Here we go.
And hear people's point of views, and that's how you gain the other perspective.
Ooh, okay. So,
Because for all I know, I could be wrong. That's how I know. That's what I know. Is that I am wrong about most things, and I'm always learning.
okay. Let's see. Is there any good way to, like, maybe everybody can have their opinion, but is there any good way to know what is factually true?
Can we pause it?
Yeah.
She just admitted that she could be mistaken. Like that could have been a good opportunity to commend her. Like, yeah, I think that's good that you recognize that. I totally think that I am mistaken all the time. But I guess what I'm wondering here is if truth is subjective, can anyone ever be mistaken? Or, I'm not exactly sure how you might want to tie that into the topic, but recognizing her on that disclosure, I think would have been good. I think you laughed, which she could have been interpreted as you were laughing at her answer. But when you see behavior that you think is conducive to the conversation, you can say that. Like, I think that's a great. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I feel the same way, and I think if we have that attitude during this talk, blah blah blah.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I didn't do it in this conversation, but there have been other conversations I've had that I've tried to do that, because if somebody is admitting that they could be mistaken, I feel like it's an honest, and they're being, I don't know if vulnerable is the right word, but like they're admitting that I could be mistaken. And so I try to commend that when I remember to. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. And you don't want to overdo it, but you do want to like just quickly recognize it and then move on. Don't dwell on it too much. Be sincere about it too.
To know what is factually true?
The only good way to know what is factually, the only thing I can think of is like how you feel inside, your gut.
Your gut instinct.
Yes, that's your intuition.
Intuition.
That's the only thing
Okay.
to feel.
Could you?
No one else can tell me what's correct. Like no one else could possibly do anything that made me believe something was like a fact. The only way I
Okay.
could know is if
You verified it
like,
yourself.
I felt that, yeah.
Okay. So, could you feel that this is odd and be correct? If we counted it up and we all agreed that it's 20, like,
Yeah.
you could feel that it's odd and be correct.
Potentially.
Okay. Could you feel about something? Like, could you say, I feel that, I feel like the grass is blue. And would you be correct about that if we...
No.
No?
Not
Just
necessarily.
Reid, if we can just pause
Okay.
that for a sec.
Yep.
I would have stayed on that, John, when she said she could feel that it was odd. I would have stayed on that and just asked a few more questions to go, which is more reliable, us counting it out? Or if we did this 20 times, do you think if we counted it out, we would be more accurate than you feeling 20 times and then comparing the results?
Yeah, that's good. And there was an issue too with like you had said, can you feel that it's odd and it be odd? Which that is true. I don't think maybe that's what you meant to say.
Yeah.
Can you feel that it's odd, and the fact that you feel it determine that it's odd, or something like that? But yeah, that was a good. That was good.
Because
I
you could
think-
feel that it's odd, and they counted it to be odd, and I felt correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe combining our senses. Maybe there's a Tic Tac box in a room on a table, and 10 people are lined up to go into the room to figure out how many Tic Tacs are in the box. But only some people can use their feelings. Some people can only look at them. Some people are blindfolded and can only feel them. And some people can do all three. Which will actually converge on answers?
Absolutely.
That would be interesting thought experiment.
You're also making her the subject of the thought experiment as opposed to the other person. Remember before it was like, what if that other person over, like 20 of us say that it's even, but then that other person over there says that it's odd. But then for this iteration, even though she mentioned feelings, you used her in the example where you could have taken her reasoning and put it on the other person. Because again, like, you're stopping someone on the trail, you don't have a lot of rapport. Now you're making them the focus of a thought experiment. It could be a little bit safer if you were talking about that
absolutely.
that 21st person over there now is going off of feelings. And now you're talking about somebody different than her, but it's still her reasoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are minor suggestions. I mean, like what you're doing so far is really good. I mean, you're staying calm and focused, and it's not hard. It's not easy to stop someone and pick a topic and do what you're doing here. So I don't want to sell that short. We're probably maybe being picky here, only because there's not much to pick from. So
Yeah,
that was a
point.
That was a great tie-in to the Tic Tac example too. That was really good the way you tied that in. So we're just thinking of ways to to help moving forward. That's all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just a few little adjustments on your end, and you're going to be awesome. You're going to be awesome at this. I have no doubt.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
About that, if we...
No.
No?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I guess. So I guess no, not... Maybe I'm not correct on opinions, but I could feel it. I don't...
You could feel it, but not be correct.
Correct to who? Me or someone else?
Okay. So I think with all of these examples, like, let's say we have the definitions like set, like we know this is odd, 1 is odd, 2 is even. If we have those definitions and we all agree on the definitions, but then somebody feels something differently, are they correct?
To themselves, they are.
Okay. Okay.
Others, probably not.
To others, probably not. Okay.
To me, maybe.
Maybe. Okay. So is truth relative?
Yes.
Truth is relative.
Mhm.
Okay. Somebody could. Okay.
I believe most things are opinion, not fact.
Most things are an opinion, not fact. Okay.
When it gets to this level, it's rather than saying, are they correct, make it super explicitly clear. Like, are they using a more or less reliable way to test the state of affairs of reality or something? To like check reality, to check the world we're sharing. I don't know if that's too pedantic or literal, but just to get super clear, that's what we mean by correct or accurate. Not absolutely, but just more reliably telling what's the case in reality.
Yeah, you could also ask, like, if somebody, I use this all the time. Maybe this isn't the best analogy, but like if somebody feels like when they jump off of a cliff, they're not going to fall, they're going to fly, and then they do it, what do you think is going to happen to them? Like, what do you think the best, what do you think's most likely, that they will actually do what they feel, or that there will be some other thing kind of dictating what actually happens?
Yeah. Can something be true independent of what people think about it?
Yeah, I think she's using whenever she's saying correct or fact, she's meaning absolutely
Herself.
could not be mistaken, perfect knowledge type of accurate or correctness. I think that's what she's defining as accurate or fact.
This is where it might be helpful just to jump in and go, that's a great question. Let's see what we mean by the words that we're using. I want to understand that.
Yeah.
I want to understand that. What are you meaning when you say correct? What are you meaning when you say this? And just get real clarity over the words, because otherwise we're talking over each other, past each other.
Yeah, so ideally we want to talk about, we want to use the terms that they are using and try to understand them. But if we're not using the words that they're using and we're asking something new, we should try to stick with simpler terms, down to earth examples. Like, as Quayd said, if someone jumps from the cliff, what would happen? It's not what's correct or not. What would happen? What would you expect to see?
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Correct, reality, and stuff like that. Yeah, always a problem, especially if it's introduced by you.
Right.
Okay. Absolutely.
So is truth relative?
Yes.
Truth is relative.
Mhm.
Okay. Somebody could. Okay.
I believe most things are opinion, not fact.
Most things are an opinion, not fact. Okay.
Even that grass being green.
Okay. The grass being green is
Most
an
people.
What? Okay. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse.
No,
So like if
it's all good.
if you need to leave at any time, let me know.
And if I'm not giving you what you need at any time, let me know.
That was good. That was good.
Okay.
Awesome.
So just hypothetically, because you said
stop? She said something like, if I can't give you what you need, please let me know. I would say, this interview is about me understanding how you came to this belief. So please don't think about what you need to give me or anything. Just be as honest and open. And if you're confused about what I'm asking, like, this project is less about me and it's more about you and how you're thinking about your thoughts. And that, I think, might even take some of the pressure. Maybe it amplifies the pressure on her. Actually, I think it probably would take the pressure off, because she may be thinking, I need to participate in this interview to your standard, to meet some goal that you have. And you got to put the kibosh on that right from the start. Like, we can go anywhere you want. This is about you. I want to try to understand you. And then maybe at some point challenge you about your views, but you take me through this.
And she also said that there were very few facts. And I think that could have been a point to ask her, like, okay, what are some of those very few facts as well, to establish how, what the baseline is for that.
Yeah.
What is a fact? Yeah. And clarify terms. Absolutely.
Cool.
So just hypothetically, because you said even this grass being green could maybe be an opinion.
What is green?
Okay. So let's say we defined green as this particular wavelength of light in the visible light spectrum. And we have this very particular frequency that, like, when it hits our eye, that is what we define as green. And we agree on that definition. But then somebody feels, no, I think you have an opinion on whether it's green or not. Is that what we're saying? Like, we could define things and maybe measure them? That actually, is there a way we could test whether or not this is odd or even? And have definitions? Like, how do we know anything at that point?
Great thoughts, but too much at the same time.
Absolutely. So when I was listening to it and watching it over and over again, this is like one of the major things that I caught that I didn't wait for a pause. I got so caught up in like my own questioning, my own thoughts. I just went for question after question after question, and I don't think we even got to answer the whole thing about, you know, I came up with an example about the wavelength and the particular wavelength of light on the visible light spectrum. We pushed past that, and I asked more questions on top of that. And yeah, that was not good on my part.
Yeah, you said define. How do we define? How do we measure? Those are different things. Shouldn't put them in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Also, but it's okay. Ideas are great. How do we test this? Is a short question you ask at the end. It's perfect. Also, the example of green being the specific wavelength, I don't particularly like this example because we don't know whether she is well acquainted with the physics of wavelengths. So if not, your interlocutor might be a little bit intimidated if you like bombard them with heavy facts. So usually try to go with simpler things like, here, are we talking here? Could someone feel like we're not talking? Or if someone said that I am transparent to them, like simpler things that anybody can understand.
Okay.
Cool.
Like, how do we know anything at that point?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, we could be seeing totally different colors in different places right now. But I've been told that's green my whole life, and so have you.
Yeah.
But we're seeing different. I mean,
Okay.
we all interpret life differently, like I said earlier.
Okay.
And so I don't believe we all experience or see things the same way. So I think one person could count that up and say it's odd, and one person could count that up and say it's odd.
Okay.
And believe it to be true.
And there's, sorry, I think I already asked this, but
It's okay.
what is there any good way to know what is factually true? Like, because like intuition. Okay.
That's the only thing I trust.
Example. Ask for example. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Give me an example of how you come to a fact using intuition. Just one. And then ask the same question about it as she was saying, like, who's to say that it's a fact? How do we know if other people perceive different? Yeah, question like that. And also not to intimidate, not to repress, frame it like, of course, in simpler terms, like, I'm just trying to understand myself because I'm not sure I understand how to handle this. Like, if I can use my intuition to come to facts, how do I do it? Like, if I intuit this, is it a fact? It might not be. Just trying to understand.
I don't know if because like I've played the talk and so many times to myself. I don't know if she said this earlier in the talk or maybe it's in a minute, but I think some of the examples she gave for intuition were when people are lying to her, she's able to tell, and she says it takes practice. I think that's actually coming up, but those are some of the things that she was using her intuition to tell whether or not were true. It might be in a minute. I should have asked for an example though. Yeah.
Cool.
But I could be a robot for all I know, so maybe
You could be a
trust myself.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to like talk in circles and bring up too many things over again, but
No, this is for your
yeah, I mean,
research. I'm here to help or not help.
no, this is helpful so far. So the only way to know something is factually true is like intuition. Can we define intuition? What do we mean by that? Like you said gut feeling or?
Good question.
The energy that vibrates off your soul.
Whoa.
The meridians throughout your body.
That was a little reaction.
That one really that caught me off guard because we'd been talking about what's true and things like that, and then out of nowhere, the energy that vibrates off of your soul, that
Yeah.
completely caught me off guard, and
I definitely get it, but yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of stifle your surprises, here and there, like, oh, that's interesting, and maybe make a note of it or something. But did she say that? Oh, go ahead, Michael. Was that
No, you go first, Anthony. It's all right.
Did she say that intuition was the only way to know things, or one way?
Yeah.
Were you wondering about that too? Because I was like, well, is there a better way to decide what's true besides intuition? Where does intuition rank compared to other ways of knowing? Could be fun to go.
Yeah, I would have done a hypothetical there if that's what she had said. That's what I was thinking. And it would have been something like, let's say, for example, I just want to understand how you're thinking about intuition. Let's say, for example, that we're on a busy highway with trucks going backwards and forwards, 150 miles per hour, if they go that fast. And I was to blindfold you and put earmuffs on you, and you had a choice. You could go with your intuition to cross the highway or come back, or you could have a sneak peek by lifting the blindfold. What would you choose? I would go there. I just want to do this not to be sarcastic, but I would phrase it in a way that's not being sarcastic. I genuinely want to know, is this how you mean by intuition, or are you meaning it just as a starting point, and that just to get clarity, because makes us think about these things. What does she really mean when she says intuition is the only way to know what's true? Yeah.
I don't know if it was the only way, but I think it's the one that she brought up when I asked, is there a good way or best way? And she points to intuition. But yeah, no, I definitely like that analogy, and exploring, testing the limits of how far we can take that intuition. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go.
Okay.
We're all energy. We're all energy, and I think that, I guess that's a belief, but I'm not certain on anything I say, 100%. But from what I've experienced, I have gut feelings, I have intuition. I know when situations are bad, or when someone is
This is
lying.
dangerous.
I think it takes practice to get there.
Okay.
To be in tune with
Oh.
the energy in your body and aware of it. And
Okay.
what you're feeling. Again, people will interpret things differently, but I think energy doesn't lie. Energy can't change based off of what someone thinks.
Okay.
Or says about it. It's there.
Okay. So
that's a fascinating claim. Energy doesn't lie. That seems like a fundamental assumption. That's very interesting.
If we know what energy means, maybe it's the same as intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Energy can't change.
I take that back.
Okay.
Energy definitely can change based on your mindset and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that.
Okay.
Because I'm manifest all the time. But
Manifestations, like saying it and willing it into the universe.
yes.
Okay.
And the law of attraction. Always.
Right.
Future topic right there.
And that's probably the claim to talk about. The law of attraction is true. It seems like what all these ideas are focusing on.
It's like you've got 5 or 6 new topics to explore in the last 30 seconds with her.
Yeah. I at the end, I give her my contact information. If she ever wanted to reach out again and talk, I hope she does, because I would love to explore that with her. It was, even this conversation, it also the secret. Yeah. I don't know if that.
They usually don't. My understanding, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, but usually people don't contact you back, even when you.
Oh yeah.
Give them the
It's rare. It's
I have
5% of the time, 10% maybe.
There's one of the other talks on my channel with a guy named Rob. He did actually email me, and he reached out. He in our email chain, he started asking me, what do you believe? Open question, the way I asked him. And so we've been talking back and forth a little bit about that kind of stuff. And he definitely sees my point of view, and he is, I think if we have a few more conversations, like, I don't know, I would want to teach him the process and how to use street epistemology to explore his own beliefs. Like, he's almost there. It's
That's
pretty good.
great. That's great, because that
Yeah.
sounds like he has a strong need to, you know, have a reliable way to navigate through life, and that's why he's reaching out and asking those questions. That's what it seems like. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
All right, let's watch the last little bit of it.
Oh,
Right.
But I don't know what the original question was. Intuition.
Intuition is a good way to tell what's true, what's factually true. Is there a reason that you would use intuition over trying to measure it in some way or test it? Like, because we
Measure
could,
a fact.
yeah, well, so like if we're trying to determine what's true, and let's say, like we're on the sidewalk and I want to know how far it is to the end of the sidewalk. I could take, we all agree on what an inch is or a foot is. And as long as we all have common definitions, like we agree this is what a foot is, and then I could take the sidewalk and put one foot in front of the other and try to figure out and measure how far the sidewalk is. Is that, would I be able to tell how far the sidewalk goes, and would that be true? If I could take a common definition and we could measure it and we all agree that this is what a foot is, and would that be true? If I measured it and it was 500 feet, would that be a true statement?
To whom? I'm gonna ask that
To-
again.
Okay.
Reid,
So-
just pause it for a sec.
Yeah.
I think that's a good example you're working through. The only problem I have with it is that in Australia, we wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about when you're talking about feet or inches. Those measurements have been banned here. We're not allowed to use feet or inches. It's all metric. But yeah. that's a
Yeah,
good test.
I like this example as well. It's easier, and to compare it against intuition would be even better. Like if we do this, and then we intuit about it and see if our intuition tells it's 400 feet, for example, but measurement says 500. Could it be possible?
And see if you can raise the stakes in the hypothetical. So there's more at stake, more at risk.
I've heard the best hypothetical that I think I've heard so far about intuition, and I've used it a couple times, is imagine that you're on a jury, or imagine that you are accused of being guilty of something, and the judge actually gives you the choice of selecting a jury that will go off of intuition, their intuitions about whether you're guilty or not, or the judge will allow you to go off of something else. You can even keep it nebulous, something other than intuition, like
That's a good one.
evidence, or whatever, eyewitness testimony or something.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer if you were innocent? And then you can also run it, which would you prefer if you were guilty? And that kind of helps frame it in terms of like, where does intuition rank compared to other methods of knowing?
Yeah, I like that better than the truck analogy, because I think kind of implying your IL's potential death might be too. But the jury one, I think, it's pretty good. Yeah, good way, as long as it's maybe not like life in prison or something. Just don't get specific about it.
Awesome. Let's see, how did she respond?
Yeah.
Generally,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay.
In this universe, yes. That's what we've been taught. That is true.
Okay.
We've been taught that is true.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Okay. We've been taught things like feet, and we've been taught sidewalks, and so we all agree on those things. We could. Do you think it's more practical to use measurements like that than gut feelings?
Can we
Maybe
pause it
dependent
real
on
quick
the
before her
situation?
response?
Yeah.
So this question is one that I had a little bit of a problem with in hindsight. Yeah, ask the leading question. Absolutely. So I felt like with this one, I asked it in a tone that was almost rhetorical. Like I was saying, it is more practical to measure things than use gut instinct. And yeah, I felt that was super leading and not as objective or neutral as it could have been.
I am also wondering. I'm wondering how she would answer, and this could be viewed as leading, but I'm also genuinely curious, so that can be an issue. But if someone had the opinion that your gut instinct wasn't the best way, if someone is of the opinion, would that be their truth? To kind of like bring those two worlds together, because before she was saying that everybody has their own truth and opinions. If somebody is of the opinion that their gut instinct isn't the best way to determine facts, then what do we do with that?
You mean their gut instinct tells them to not listen to their gut instinct?
Somebody else, no, I think somebody else doesn't think that their gut instinct is reliable. How would you deal with it?
Right, and determining the truth. Yeah, someone is of the opinion. So, like, is it that
absolutely.
they're,
Yep. All right, last little bit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's more practical.
Okay. I don't.
In certain situations, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just exploring these. Like, I don't want to. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Like, why you say that.
Because, like, if we could measure.
I'm not saying to rely on gut feelings all the time, and I don't do that. I rely on, like, the cars or the street lights stopping when they're supposed to. Or
Right.
And I just think they're gonna happen. Like, I know the sun is gonna rise tomorrow, but there's also no way I could know that because for all we know, aliens out there can blow us up. Whatever.
Yeah. Or blow up the sun.
Yes. So, yes, it's more practical.
Okay.
And, but yeah,
Okay.
yes, it's more practical.
Okay. We can go ahead and end the talk there. I don't want to take up all your time, but I really want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate you stopping to talk.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and give you my card. So I'm doing a thing called Street Epistemology, and there's a website. If you look it up on YouTube, there's a lot of other channels that do like video examples of things like this. That's why I was going to record it. But if you email me, I can, if and when I put this talk on YouTube, I have a very small channel. I have like 14 subscribers.
Okay.
So if and when I put this talk on, if you email me, I can email you the link and be like,
Awesome.
here's your talk. I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but thank you for your time, and I appreciate
What was your name?
My name is John.
John.
Yeah.
Can I shake your hand?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely.
Macy, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Sweet.
I love the music at the end. It's good.
Yeah.
Good music.
Did you ask her if it was okay to put up a video? That's is that something that we should do?
We probably should do. I never do it.
Yeah.
I get their permission to record it, and I don't go usually beyond that. Would you mind if I post it? We probably should, but I was always worried that people would say no at the end of a really long, good talk. I'm like, well, here's my card. If you have any issues, email me. So now the ball's in their court to reach out to me. And if they did email me to say take it down or don't use it, then I wouldn't use it. But I didn't want to, open up I didn't want to make it too easy to say no. And whether that's ethical or not, I'm not sure. But it's like, fuck, I was out here all day. I had 10 talks. This was the best one. I'd hate for you to say, no, don't use it. But I'm willing to take it down if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And I just live stream. So if they don't want the live stream, then they're not going to do it.
Big
anyway.
mistake.
But what you did at the end there should be at the front. Like introduce yourself, shake their hand, give them your name as well. And then build the rapport. Because if you don't have the rapport, all the other stuff is so much harder to do. Like you're going to get just natural, cautious resistance. And if you, try to connect with them as much as you can.
So one of the things, like, because I guess the way I'm trying to find interlocutors when I go out and do this is, people walking by, I ask them, hey, do you have time for an interview? And I think most people are thinking I'm trying to sell them something. And so I've had people completely ignore me, keep their heads down, keep walking. I've asked, hey, how's it going today? And I've gotten dirty looks. Like, I don't know. I do think it's a little, intimidating, and building rapport is probably something I should focus on. Yeah, doing a little bit more.
I've been saying, do you have around 5 or 10 minutes for an interesting interview?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing too. I find once you become more confident with what you're doing and how you explain it and the typical reactions you get from people that you did interview,
Mhm.
then it comes through as confidence. Like,
Yep.
I could explain what I'm doing. I think I've justified it. Even if a cop came up to me, I think I could explain it to them in a way that they would be satisfied with it. I wouldn't be too rattled because I'm not lying to anybody. And then that just
absolutely.
if that feeds into your conversation, that self-confidence that you have, that you're out there stopping people. But you're doing the most awkward version of SE, is stopping strangers on the street. I don't know of a more awkward way than this way.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, 'cause like a lot of people are going to think that you're trying to convert them to your religion. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's,
I
Yeah,
was-
people
that's probably
be
how I thought.
naturally cautious right from the start.
I was so nervous the first time I did that. Yeah, it was just I was super nervous. But after the fourth, fifth time, it gets a bit easier. Hey, one thing I could maybe recommend is when you because you do say to them, "Do you mind if I record it?" Just add the words for my channel at the end. Do you mind if I record it for my channel? Maybe that's just one way to
Absolutely.
get consent at the
Also,
beginning.
regarding the
worried
audio,
about
if
that?
you could stand a little bit closer to them.
Yeah, I had a suggestion.
Mhm.
I don't know what your situation's like. If you probably don't have an add-on microphone to your GoPro, but you can get one. Like, this was cheap,
Okay.
$20, something like that, and it plugs into the
Absolutely.
outside,
Yeah.
and it really
I've
improved
been-
the audio quite a bit.
I've
Yeah,
been
another
trying
guy-
to. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Reid.
Another guy, Jeff, just submitted a funding request to have him get some new microphones, and there's this really great 2 lav microphone set, 2 microphones, 1 receiver, which record locally on the microphones. You can just let them borrow it, put them on, let it clip on their shirt or something, and you can have one,
Oh.
and it'll record. So
Okay.
feel free
Absolutely.
to get in
People have been
touch.
trying to get me to do that for the longest time, but I never felt comfortable giving. Like, I always felt I'm asking them to stop, to allow me to record them. They're sharing a sensitive belief, and now I'm also giving them something to clip to their shirt. Like,
That might be too much,
make sure that you build
Yeah.
rapport before you even offer that as an option.
or like a roll off
Okay.
with it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But what were you gonna say?
This is kind of I don't know, tangential to, but since I do these in parts, this is right after this talk. Maybe not right after, but the same day I did this talk, and this is the second time this has happened to me. In the middle of me doing that, there's been a religious group that has set up their stuff right next to me. There was one time I was at a park. It was a church. They were doing an outdoor service, and they were playing music really, really loudly, and they just set up as I was, and right after this talk it happened again. But I tried to stick around and see if any of them would like to talk about stuff. But I am trying to improve audio quality. I've also bought things that help block wind for the GoPro mic. So, but buying a separate mic would probably also help.
Yeah, getting back to the talk, I think you've made progress, actually. I think we understand about Macey much more than we understood in the beginning of the conversation. I think I could try to steelman her a little bit. So she was saying that if we've been taught something, if we can all agree on something like feet, inches, and stuff, then we don't need to use our intuition to measure something. We can use it, and we should. But intuition should be reserved for more subtle things, for things that we haven't been taught, and they can go for energy and stuff like that. So yeah, the next questions could be about how do we distinguish between this and that, or can someone think that there is no hard measurements like feet on the sidewalk, but other people might think there are some measurements that could be made, and yeah, a lot to talk about. But yeah, great stuff. Keep it up.
Yeah. Really fantastic.
I'm trying, and it's I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm my own worst critic, but I have so many areas to improve on and better ways to ask questions. And and also the laughing. I've got to stop laughing, the cutting down on the, reactions to what people say, because I don't want to come off as, I'm laughing at you.
Yeah. It's tricky because you want to be yourself, but you also
Mhm.
don't want to do things that that we have come to recognize can be problematic in the conversation. So it's
Yeah.
almost like an ethical challenge. Do you hold back from your true self and who you really are for the purpose of advancing the exploration of somebody's view? My sense is that, you be yourself, but recognize when it's problematic and then decide how you want to handle it by yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get accused of not being expressive enough, so it's just hard for me to deal with those things. So I just shut everything off and try to keep to the conversation, and it's really awkward that way too. So
I'm thinking now about how not expressive Reid can be, but then when he said like,
yeah,
screw the chart or whatever it was,
Chart
was
can go
it?
fuck itself.
the chart can go fuck itself. Like that was Reid being himself, and it ended up like being beneficial with that person.
Well, yeah, maybe. Anyway.
Okay. Well, John, keep up the great work. Let us know if you need any help. And even the nonprofit for SE has resources where if you needed equipment or something, you can submit a funding request.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking about doing that, but I wanted to, I don't know, at least buy a camera on my own and go out and try it before I would ask money of anybody. So yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that is something that we look for now, like because we can get a funding request for $500, and no one, they haven't done anything to suggest that they're even remotely interested in this, other than saying that they are. So when we see somebody who's actually gone out and put some skin in the game, and you're failing forward, like as we like to say, that's nice to see. Like as far as funding requests. So.
Yeah,
but only do this if you like to do it. Like, I hope you don't
yeah.
feel any pressure to do this. I hope you want it. You're doing it because you want to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
absolutely. I mean,
pressure, especially after today when 5 people were heavily criticizing your conversation. You've been going
I'm
out for
done.
just a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not like I'm never going out and doing this again, but yeah, no, I think I can get better at this and work at it. And that's my hope for you.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch this talk over and over again and then take notes and figure out how to best improve, because I want to go out there. I want to, like, these conversations are interesting and fun to have, so I want to be out there doing this. But I want to do it to the best of my ability and improve and get better. So definitely.
Awesome.
Doing it the way that you're doing it is the best way to do it. And you got the extra bonus of somebody, a few people reviewing it. All right. So let's wrap it up. Any last thoughts? Oh, I thought I heard something. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, like, in the future, is it cool if I reach out, like, if there's a particular conversation that I'm like, hey, this one was, crazy in a certain way, and I think I might have messed up, I can reach out and be like, hey, can we review this one? Like, is that another thing to do? Okay.
Yeah, you have the review role now in the Discord, and I'll post a few days earlier in the week, a poll to what we're going to do. And if you have a new video, post the link and we'll consider it.
Okay. Awesome.
So what's the name of your channel, John, again? And how can people find you?
Yeah. So when I was looking at how to name the channel, I saw Abstract Activists, I saw Cordial Curiosity, and I saw Deep Discussions. And so I thought alliteration, so I went with Quality Questions. So that's the name of the YouTube channel.
And I saw Diamond Discourse. Diamond Discourse is in the comments here too, and I think he has a channel. So yeah, the alliteration is strong in the SE community, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for letting us review your show. Any closing thoughts by anyone here?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Take care.
By the way, one last thing. We do find ourselves sometimes wondering what we should review. I think like the last couple of times we were a little light on what we should review. So if you're a listener or a viewer and there's a particular discussion you would like us to review, submit it to us and we'll consider it.
Oh yeah, not necessarily out of SE world. We could take something from outside. It would be great for a change.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, everyone. Reid, do you have something?
Yeah, in order to fund our funding requests, feel free to sign up for the Patreon for SEI, or give any kind of a small donation with PayPal. streetepistemologyinternational.org.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Until next time.